Honorable citizens of planet Earth, I am standing in front of you today as a 50-year-old father of a son aged 22 years this year, a daughter aged 11 years this year, a boy aged 7 years this year, and a girl aged 5 years this year. I live here in Swansea in the United Kingdom, and as you can see, this is my room. It's a 25 square meter room, almost the size of your toilet and bathroom, and this is where I was housed by the City Council of Swansea after being removed from my children in a constructive alienation which took many years to happen. It is this constructive alienation by the City Council of Swansea which I am making this presentation to you today. I am a son of a very reputable church pastor, and I was taught never to spread a rumor. I was taught never to lie. I teach my children never to lie. I teach my children never to spread a rumor, and I teach my children to be very good citizens of this world who are careful in what they say, and at all temptations avoid a lie, and at all temptations avoid to spread a lie. So I am not going to stand in front of you here and lie, although the whole presentation that I'm going to make to you today will end you feeling like you've been told a lie. Some of you will believe me and some of you will not believe me. This is what human beings are. Some will doubt whatever I will tell you, but I'm telling you, I am an honest and caring father who has been removed from my family by a construction created by an institution which is a government hand. It's a local government of the city of Swansea, Swansea City Council.gov, which is local government of Swansea, and they created all this over many years to make sure that they remove my family from Swansea. As it is now, the last time I saw my children was in July 2019, and today is March 2020. In the records of the City of Council of Swansea, if you go there today and check for yourself, it will say that my children have been vacated by their father. It's actually written where his father, they say deserted. This is a father who deserted his family. Because the City of Council and its agencies have done this to so many people and destroyed many families, I have to make this presentation probably not only for myself, probably to help future victims of this vicious cycle from being alienated from your children that you love And the wife that you chose for yourself in your private and willful way, and you decided to have children together like everyone else, and an institution decided to destroy everything and alienate you and call you a vicious person who is dangerous to his partner and dangerous to his children, one who should never be anywhere near his children like me. I've never seen my children from July 2019. It's March 2020 now. The history of it is something that I'm going to be quick and make sure that I'm up to the point. I'm sorry I'm not very good in presentation, but this has to be done. This has to be done. If you are not affected, let me tell you again, if you are not affected, look at this video and put it aside until you get affected. Before I was affected, I used to ask I actually have a friend here in Swansea who had a bag brought to his workplace and was told never to return to his house because he's an abusive man, and the wife complained, and the children were left there without a father. And it's a cycle. This is what happens. It's called women organizations. But be very careful, married women, be very careful about these people, because you will be put at a place where you are told that you are going to be wonderful, and you are going to be put at a place after some years where you'll find that you are actually pathetic, and you followed a system that you thought was going to prosper you, and the system destroys you as a wife. This system destroys each and every one of the children that you have, and it will alienate everybody. The wife will probably even end up without the children themselves, because the system that you are following will take even the children. This is exactly what is happening to me. I've been alienated. My children have gone with their mother, and there's a very good possibility that the children will be taken again from the mother, using the same system of we are helping you, and yet they're actually destroying you. In 2009, one of the many city council agencies of Swansea came to our house. Our house meaning me, my partner, and our newly born daughter, then in 2009. And these agencies of the City Council of Swansea advised me to get castrated to avoid having more children than my daughter that we had just had in 2009. I want to ask you, how lawful is it in this country that an agent of the city council would come to your house with your partner and say to you that you must get castrated? How lawful is that? That's constructive alienation. When my son, in 2014, we got another boy after I had been told to get myself castrated. When my son was being delivered at the hospital in 2014, the labor pains happened around 5 o'clock at our house, and at around 6 o'clock I drove my partner to the maternity ward. At 8 o'clock in the morning, I took our 4-year-old daughter to her school and left my partner at the ward. the maternity ward. When I came back to the maternity ward, I was shocked to find my partner crying for help, which was not forthcoming. When I opened the room, just when I was entering, two supposed midwives were standing at a corner holding files. One was quite an experienced lady, midwife, and the other one was a student, a student who is being taught in the ward. So it was two of them. And I entered this room after taking my daughter to school and leaving my partner at the delivery ward. Just as I entered, my partner grabbed me by hand and asked me to lift her right leg and put it on the rail of the bed. And she told me that the two ladies were refusing to touch her. You can see, touch her. I don't want to go too much to say she is black and the midwives were white and they didn't want to touch her. And she was crying, wondering when I would be coming, because in the first delivery of our daughter back in 2009, the ladies helped us. I want to confess to you, they helped us. I was there. They helped us and they were helping her. We thought that is the normal. They were helping her. She would ask for anything, they would do it. I was there and everything happened with. The labor took long then in 2009, but truly they were there and busy, and visibly you could see how helpful they were. That's why I wouldn't go on to say racism or things like that, because surely the midwife was there and helping, but not on this day of 2014 when my boy was being delivered. The situation at the same hospital was very different. They were unwilling to touch her. Before she could finish the sentence asking me to lift her leg and put it on the rail at the delivery bed, the elderly midwife walked towards me and asked if I was the partner. After answering her, she asked what occupation I do. Just imagine the emergency of my partner there asking me to lift her leg there. Then somebody comes in, "Oh, are you the partner?" And I say yes, and she say, "What job do you do? What would happen to your mind? What would you think?" You would obviously think, "Oh, okay, she is now beginning to act because I'm here, and she was refusing to do everything. Now she's beginning to act because I'm here, and she's also afraid because she doesn't know whether I'm a medical doctor or something." But I answered her, "Okay, I'm an engineering student at the University of Swansea, the metropolitan one." To me, this question was clear that they were doing something illegal, which could only be identified by an outsider who is in the medical fraternity. I lifted my partner's leg, and the baby's head was already visible, but clearly distressed. After a long time of a tired and distressed mother, a nurse of Asian origin was called into the ward. She immediately ran back and brought back with her scissors. It was an emergency situation which she invoked after looking at the situation, because I'm not experienced in medical thing. That's when action began. When that lady came, she was Asian. She went out of the room running and came back with her scissors. Obviously, the child was distressed. The baby was distressed. The mother was tired, and she noticed the mistake which was there. She cut some tissues and the baby came out. In a compensative gesture, I was given a scissors to cut the umbilical cord. The baby's head was squashed. It looked more like an ox tongue, like an ox tongue. That was the shape. It wasn't the shape of a head, to be honest. It was squashed. It looked like an ox tongue. And I asked, is the baby all right? And she said, oh yeah, the head would get all right. It would get back into shape. But to me, it didn't look well because I had the first daughter delivered, and I didn't see something like that. Yeah, the extent of squash to me was clear that there would be a problem in the future. After some minutes, the baby made some sounds, and alas, the baby was alive. Is it coincidence or just natural happenstances that my daughter was delivered very well with a dedicated team of midwives in 2009, and in 2012 my son was delivered with clear difficulties after I had been told to castrate and I didn't? Is there any relationship there? It's a question which intelligent people must ask. Because if something is to be law, it is better not to punish the children. It is better to put it in the books of law to say people must have one child. Those who want to have many should stop. It should be put in the book, clearly in the law. If it's not in the law, surely it must be looked at a different way than to punish the children to the extent that they end up with autism and end up destroying families because people are having more children than what is required, but is not written in the law. When I was still at university, my partner told me she was pregnant of our third child. In 2014, our last daughter was born. On the day of labor, I took my partner to the maternity room. I had two of my other children. So we just got there and we booked in, and we were told to sit at a waiting room. And there were two ladies already waiting there. One of them was immediately taken into her ward. My almost 2-year-old boy was beginning to become unsettled at the waiting room, and my partner told me to take them back to the house and that she would call me when the time comes. I took my children home and went back. When the staff called me later to say my child had been delivered, I took my children to the hospital ward to go and see. My partner was at an intensive care, and she was recovering. I was taken to the ward where my daughter had been put at a special unit for children. Pipes were put on her nostrils right into the throat, and she was put in an incubator. It's a medical thing. My daughter is alive. I'm happy. I don't know the medical procedure there. I don't know what happened in the room where the operation happened. I was not there, but my daughter was in the ICU when I saw her that evening when she was delivered. After some days, my partner narrated to me that more women in labor came to the waiting room where we had left her, and she was just ignored and forgotten in that waiting room. That's what she told me. A black medical doctor was allocated to her, and he immediately carried out a cesarean under emergency. My baby was delivered and put in a special unit after a cesarean. Both the children have autism today. My second child, who is a boy, is autistic today, and this girl is also autistic, one that was born in 2014. Remember, I told you the council agencies told me to get castrated in 2009. Think for yourself what I'm thinking today, after the City Council of Swansea carried out a constructive operation to manufacture a charge of aggressive control behavior case against me to alienate me from my children and my partner. And the alienation was done in such a manner that it is never going to be repairable again. And as I'm making this video, you would think that I'm trying to get my partner back, which is not at all. Not at all. I'm not trying to get her back. She succumbed because naturally she's a very gullible lady, born in an African country under colonialism, and brought up to believe that whatever is said by a white person is as pure as milk, and it must be followed to the book because it is honest and correct. She believes that, she holds that. Actually 90% of the people in her country believe that. Also from where I come from, that's what we were taught in the 70s, that white man's determination of things is perfect, incorruptible, and honest at all times. That's what we were taught when growing up. There is an element of truth in that, but a lot of things have been ignored. A lot of things have been ignored, which are now criminal. Criminals are using this model to produce things like this alienation of families, causing distrust amongst families. The men they coached my partner to lay charges against me of aggressive from nothing. Nothing. She knows from nothing. She even asked me. She actually told me one time that, if you had not let me go to facing the challenge alone, all this was not going to happen. These people boost me with questions. She has a low IQ. She probably admits sometimes that she's gullible. She does admit that. So it was a team of people instituted by the Council of Swansea, facing her and advising her and telling her the advantages, the monetary advantages she would get, and the housing advantages she would get, and the compensation if she had made a claim that I'm treating her with aggressive mannerism. This is a lady who comes from a family which has got 7 mothers, a father, 7 mothers, which means a father with 7 wives and 52 children. That's where she comes from. That's a traditional African family, which is acceptable there, but not acceptable here. You see, we are African. Her grandfather was actual custodian of African culture, King Sobuza, custodian. He actually said, it's even there on YouTube, you can go and check for yourself. He said, not everything that comes from white culture is good for us Africans. We will take that which is good and ignore that which is bad. Because clearly, yes, they have got a lot of good things and a lot of bad things. But if they want to deal with you, they present good. They present bad, very bad, as if it is good, especially if they notice that you are gullible like my partner. Because if a white person walks in there and tell you something, she can even say, crush your children. She would crush your children. She can't reason. When she's told, she says, no, this is right, because of this residual colonial mentality. Sometime in 2017, my partner went to hospital to seek for contraceptives after 2 of our children were born under this drama that I've just told you. And these children had autism. And it is autism of a higher grade. It's not the normal one, it's that one of a higher grade. At that time, we had been asked to sign for organ donation in case our children died. Just imagine this thing, where it's going. I'm going to use this video in the future. If something happens to my children and my children end up there given to other people in so many hands, and I will help my children with this video and this record to get them to sue for millions and multi-millions because of this which is happening now. And I am going to sue myself for my own side, because these things have been left unattended to for a very long time, and the only deterrent that is there is to lift up your hand and sue these people and stop it, so that the future families will live in a natural ambient atmosphere of married, because married people do have arguments. They do have arguments every now and then. All of them, not even all of them, do have arguments every now and again. Natural. It is up to a wife on her own volition, without force, on her own volition, to say, I no longer want to live with his husband. You see, it is in her own volition. But if it is contrived by institutions, those institutions must account for it in a very deterrent manner. They should suffer. They should pay heavily, compensatively heavily. Because now, as I'm talking, my partner is obviously, I've never seen her, but I can guarantee you that she's not happy with what is happening now. She's not happy with the burden of having to look after those children, because those are busy children. And so many hands are now put on my children. And finally, what's going to happen to her? They will take those children from her, because it's a failed marriage. And they will not refer to what they did. You see, how they contrived it. They will blame her. They will blame her and say, you have failed, mother. You failed to look after these children, so we're taking them. And my children will end up being business objects, profit-making objects for other people, entrepreneurs who run these child care systems, those entrepreneurs. So my children will be used for money. To the United Nations I will end. And I will expose this with evidence, with everything that has happened. I will do that. After we had been asked to sign for donation of organs in case our children died, my son was reported to be falling from a school chair every now and again, hitting his head on the hard floor. This happened every twice a week under an evidently harsh teacher. This teacher was harsh. I saw her doing something, and I'll explain to you. She was very harsh, and she works for the Swansea Council and a program called Al New. Actually, at that time, she was doing some degree. Just hold on a minute, let me check something. Okay, my things are still right. She was doing some course and towards the care of children. This lady has been promoted now to becoming an autistic official for the City Council of Swansea under this all new project. At one point, when I was collecting my son from school, I saw this particular teacher harshly treating a Chinese boy who is autistic. This is a Chinese boy who was being collected from school by council agencies. He was not being collected by his mother. He was being collected by council agencies. And this boy walked past this teacher. He is autistic, almost a bit older than my son. He walked past through the teacher without permission. This teacher pointed the finger at her and said, "Don't do that again. Why do you pass in front of me? Don't do that again." The parents who were there stood in awe. But these parents were coming to collect their children, and these children